it's important that you expand towards your Zerg opponent because you want to take as much space as possible. Because especially if you're going mech, because mech's not as mobile as many of the Zerg units. The Zerg units are just faster. So what happens is, you have these slow Thors, you have the slow tanks, you have the fast Hellions, but you need to expand towards your player so you can get your tech labs and or your factories and things like that closer. And here we go. He's going for his third expansion, which is the gold expansion, which in this map is not easy to keep because it's right in the middle, and Zerg players want space, and there's so much open space here. So to surround the Terran forces, but Dimaga's ready. I mean, look at he's got all his siege tanks. There's really nothing in there. They have nice spacing, so there's not going to be any way really for a Zerg player to come in and surround these players effectively, which is exactly what you want to do. Over here, he's doing a little more harassment, but once again, this harassment was mainly to scout. He's constantly scouting the base, and he sees that, okay, there's roaches, and there's banglings, and oh man, these are just terrible. These little banglings, if they get your forces, it's bad news. Although banglings aren't as effective versus Thors, it takes a whole lot of banglings to kill that. But here we go. He's building his two reactors right in the middle of his mineral line, which is going to keep those mutas from doing quick attacks. If you look, all of his bases have these turrets right in the middle of his mineral line. Here he goes scouting. He sees, mutas. Here comes these Thors, which are just going to blast these mutas. Mutas got to run away. One thing that Demaga could have done, he does have a pretty vulnerable base over here, and it would have been nice to see, Demaga come over here and harass him and try to pull these forces out of the center of the map, because now, as you can see, the center is now completely owned by the Muslim. And with that, he has one scout here, but all that scout's doing is telling him, hey, I have a bunch of units that you can't do anything about. Oh, wow, that was a little lacking on the micro there, losing those mutas pretty aimlessly. I mean, the Thors just came over here. They have the Zelnaga Eye, and he doesn't see him. Oh, he had a chance. He does see the Roach and Bangslings come by. He's going to come to the protection of his siege tanks, which I'm not entirely sure if Demaga knows that he has all these siege tanks perched here. I imagine he does. Now he's going to make his push. He's just going to creep these siege tanks out. He's going to do it slowly. There's no point to rush. He's going to drop his Zergs there, and he's going to get this. Is he going to get this Overseer? No, he's going to get this Overseer. Oh, that was close. These don't have they don't have the stem packs, so the Overseer did manage to run away. Oh, it looks like we have a little creep going over here with Overlord. Nice job by Demaga. He's just putting some creep. He's watching this fourth expansion. But as you can see, the Muslim's going for the center of the board. He's spacing these tanks out. He's not letting them get grouped together. That's really important when you're playing Zerg. If you group them together and Zerg surrounds them, those tanks will go fast. And here we go. We're going to have our first major battle. Wow, it's a lot. Okay, they're going to run back here into the protection of the siege tanks, and there are your siege tanks. Just low. Wow, he's just leveling the Zerg forces because everything's so nicely spaced. He's keeping these Hellions close so that they can't get surrounded. And he needs to get these tanks sieged because siege tanks are pretty worthless unless they're sieged, although, I mean, they're doing a nice job pushing the forces back. And it looks like that was a pretty even match. These Roaches do not want to let these tanks any closer, so he is going to go ahead and do a all-in here with his forces to back up these siege tanks. He doesn't want these siege tanks in. Now, a great thing you're going to see is how fast the Zerg army can just replenish itself. He makes 30 more Roaches almost instantly. And remember earlier we were talking about why it's so important for the Terran player to push towards the Zerg player, that's exactly why. Look how fast the Zerg force is coming, and here they come. And this is one of the worst micro jobs I've ever seen. He just runs these forces straight into these tanks. I don't even know if he was looking at them, and loses all 30 of his roaches he just built. And he's pushing for the center, which is the right thing to do, but wow, I mean, that was just a devastating loss. Um, and now, I mean, these tanks are just going to finish off the Zerg forces. And at this point, it really is not looking good for Zerg. However, Dimaga is a good player. He's still producing roaches, which is a nice counter against the mech. Here come the Hellions, but Hellions are not effective when the roaches are on the board, as effective when roaches and queens are on the board. You got queen and roaches right there. He's going to run them back, which is the right thing to do. Here we have, you know, the gold expansion going. He's got his 4th expansion, and with that creep he was producing earlier, he can get his Nidus Swarm in here, and he's going to harass now with some of his units this line here, and which is the right thing to do. Well played. If your opponent does have the center of the board, you got to attack the wings. There's great chess players who talk about that. If you don't have the center, then you have to be attacking the wings, and that's essentially what Dimaga's doing. mTwDeMusliM has the center of the board, and he's pushed now, you know, into the front lines of the base, which this is horrible, horrible. He just got a ton of drones with that. I want to say around at least 10 drones out of that Hellion push. But at the same time, you know, Dimaga is trying to make some play over on this side. And this side, he's taking the wings because he can't come in the middle. Oh, we got a bunch of siege tanks here that could wipe out these drones pretty quick. And he saw, remember how important scouting is. He saw those corruptors. And when you see corruptors at this point in the game, you know that Zerg's coming out with broodlords. I mean, that's why you have them. And with those broodlords coming, he's got to pump Vikings out. So now he's going to pump out his Vikings as he's killing. He's just devastating this 3rd expansion, which Dimaga really needs to hold on to. He needs to get that expansion back, because with the forces now 70/41, it's looking really bad for Dimaga. However, here come the broodlords, and these things are they're just Terran killers. But we got the Vikings here to protect, but he's going to bring these broodlords back out of the line of the Vikings. Yeah, those broodlords are devastating. So he's falling back to the middle of the board, because I'm sure he's going to be producing these Vikings. Oh, and he's cranking out tons of Vikings now. As a matter of fact, I imagine the rest of his production's probably stopped, and all he's doing is just reacting to the broodlords, which is the reaction to broodlords is Vikings. So once again, great job by mTwDeMusliM, reacting and counter-reacting. He saw what his opponent was doing. He countered it. You know, his opponent was going mutas. He went Thor. His opponent started going roaches. He went siege tank and sieged him. A very good game. This is what he needs to do. However, he's still got this Nidus Swarm over here that's stopping his 4th expansion. And you can tell with one mining field completely mined out, his 2nd mining field getting mined out and his gold getting mined out, he needs to deal with this Nexus Swarm, because he's got to get over there and start mining, which I think that's what he's going to do now. He's got some SCVs that he just sent. What the heck? Why not? You got all these units with all this money. He needs to scout, so he sent over his SCVs to scout and get killed, so that it makes more room for stuff he wants to build. There goes a Nidus Swarm, and now this creep's going to start dissolving, and once this creep dissolves, he can get his orbital command into a good mining situation. Here we go. He's taking over the center of the board again. Here come his Vikings now to deal with his Hellions. He's got all sorts of units. He's got Hellions, SCVs he's taken to repair his mech units. He's got his Vikings, and here we go. And we're trying to have a gold expansion over here from Dimaga, but it's just not going to happen. Not this game anyway. At least not now. Here come the Hellions. The Hellions are heavily under attack. We do have some infestors coming over. Festers are great against. Oh, here we have a Viking now attack versus the Broodlords, which is bad. However, his Corruptors are a little stronger than Vikings. However, with this kind of number, when you have, look at all these SCVs now over here, just to repair his mech lab. This looks like it's a bit of an all-in attack for the Muslim, which is a good time for it. He's got his SCVs to keep protecting. He's got his Vikings trying to take out these Broodlords along with the Thor. And now the Vikings are trying to take over the Corruptors. You got the SCVs healing the Vikings as they were in battle there. And now you have the final push, and there it is, GG. And mTwDIMAGA just realized he was overwhelmed. That was just an excellent job of mTwDeMusliM, who went all in. He took his SCVs. He was repairing his Vikings during that attack, and the Vikings eventually killed all the Broodlords and Corruptors. And once that happened, it allowed mTwDIMAGA's mech units just to roll on into the base, and this game was over. It was a well-played game by both players. And once again, I just want to remind you that the 1-1-1 build order is so adaptive. You have to scout, like mTwDIMAGA just showed us. He constantly scouted, and it was a fantastic win, and with a fantastic player with a fantastic opening. So once again, I want to remind everybody that this video was brought to you by se2tutvids.com, and my name is Sir Kilt, and I will see you guys in the ladder.